this right now. Alright, you know what? I think we're actually going to have it. I think. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know in the chat if you can hear both of myself and Mr. Mark. Please. Because we are not sure if anything's working.
I think I'm working.
I see your bar going up, so I think we're working. Nobody's let me know in the chat.
Ted said yay for some reason.
Ted said yay for some reason.
We can hear.
Yep.
Says
So you can hear both of us. You can hear myself. You can hear Mark. You can hear my buzzing air conditioner in the background.
Oh, that's what that was. I was gonna say.
Okay.
I was hearing something back there.
Yep. Okay, guys. So here's the deal. Paul texted me. We were going to go for it. We got a little clear sliver that was coming up through that we might get an hour out of. So that's why we're here.
Sliver.
And we initially had planned on being over on Mark's channel because we were going to play around and get a little goofy in Universe Sandbox 2, which we probably will still do depending on how much viewing we get tonight. So, and what we're going to do over there is we're just going to have some fun and collide some planets and see what happens when we throw Jupiter into Saturn and bring in a brown dwarf into the solar system and, you know, put suns where they're not supposed to be. So that's going to go on. Yeah, that's going to go on after this stream. Once again, depending on how late we go with this. As you can see, very high clouds in Miami, but we do have a almost full moon, so we are, you know, checking it out while we can. Enjoy it. This might be the only stream we get this moon cycle. It's been absolutely crazy, but great to see all of you again. Welcome back. Even if it is for this nice short time. And welcome to Mark, who just got done wrapping up Sky Tour Radio on KGRA. Once again, Sunday nights at 9 p.m. with him and Amanda Curran. And we're back from Pine Bush, so that's all done. I'm pretty sure you guys seen everything involved with that. So now we're just checking out the moon. I think I nailed everything, right? Maybe not. Maybe I lost Mark now.
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, okay. I think I nailed everything down. All right. So there we have it. We have the moon. And
it's a few clouds, but that's okay.
Yeah, a few clouds, but we're still getting that view in, you know?
Yeah, looks good. I mean, for what it is.
Yeah, for what it is, you know? Paul did set the big scope up, so it's there in case we get a nice clear spot. He can, you know, bounce on that Terminator, however little it may be right now.
Nice.
But, yeah, it's looking like a mostly wide field. So let me go ahead, and I believe, let's see what the time says, 16. So we're about 10 seconds tonight on the latency. So you're about 10 seconds behind YouTube, but still way better than 30 seconds.
That's true.
Now let me put this up so any newcomers that come know what we're doing. And let's say hi to people who's joining us tonight. Dun, 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 dun. Let's see participants. And we got Tana and Anna and Cypher and Ronnie at ERRT Radio and Greg and Jeffrey Boyd Jr. Independent Research Society. John Kiroz. Lorraine, haven't seen her in a while. Lorraine, baby. How do you say that? Baby? You don't know?
I thought it was Lorraine Baby, but I mean,
Is it baby?
I don't know if that's her real name or if that's just like her saying it's Lorraine Baby. You know, I don't know.
Hey, baby. Yeah, it might be.
Hey, baby. Remember Beavis and Butthead?
All right, hold on. Let me. Okay.
Yeah, I remember.
All right, let me just tell Paul we are live because he is asking. Very good. Okay, back down the line. Maxime. Oscar, Patrick, Ted Bronson, Vanessa, and Venus, welcome. Thank you for joining us. We have the moon. And we're feeling a little goofy tonight, as always. Banished. Oh, okay. Oh my lord, look how fast these clouds are moving. Jeez. So guys, yeah, you're just going to have to put up with the breaks and, you know, when the clouds come flying in and just darken everything. I mean,
this.
there's one definite in life, and that is you will never, ever win against Mother Nature. And she's proven it. as the 3 weeks of rain have over Miami have made blatantly clear.
Coming his way?
Yeah, but now it's up in the Gulf, so now, of course, around the right center of that rotation, it's bringing all the clouds and rain right up past Miami as it spins out there in the Gulf of Mexico.
Right.
So
that's no goo.
Yeah, what can you do? But I will like to announce as well that there is a second channel now, which is my own channel, which I will be posting pretty much anything I want.
Nice.
So that channel is actually already launched, and I might actually link it. And basically, there's going to be all kinds of stuff you're going to see. You know, everything from documentaries to just regular stupid videos to vlogs to any stupid birds I see. You know, it's just going to be a place for Keith, where Keith doesn't have to even be politically correct. It's not about views. It's not about monetization. It's not about subscribers. It's just about a place to let the creativity flow.
See, folks, this is what happens, though, when someone's trying to stay above board and do like this standardized stream. Okay, we're doing a lunar stream. We're going to show the moon. We're going to show the moon. We're going to talk about the moon. We're going to show planets. We're going to talk about the planets. Okay? But just like Steve Brule, he has to wander down the path of nonconformity, and so he needs to explode into this, this irrational tirades every now and then, and that's why his channel. That's what I think.
Yeah. It's going to be that. It's going to be because I originally had it set aside for my Aspira Shorts channel, which is like I was going to leave it for like inspirational videos and stuff like that we were producing at the time. And I was like, why? I was like, why can't I just make it a place to dump my crap? So that's what I'm going to do. So, and that's the most original name channel on YouTube. You won't find anything else like it. Let me see if I can. Oh boy, yeah. I'll link it later.
And what is the name, Keith?
You just guessed it. It's very creative. It's named Keith.
Stupid videos.
No, it's named Keith.
All right. Well,
that's it.
Cool.
That's it. Just Keith. I'm not joking. That's exactly what it's called.
I know.
There's an entire YouTube channel called Keith.
Wow.
I was thinking about naming it something else, like, Keith's. I was thinking about Keith's Corner, and I was like, nah. And then I was like, Keith's Creative Corner, spelled all with K's, and I'm like, oh Jesus, that's like KKK. I was like, can't do that. And I was like, I'm just gonna name it Keith. That's it. And I wondered if it was gonna let me because YouTube. They seem to be getting more and more weird with how you title stuff. But I poked it in, and literally I was able to have a channel called Keith, so I did it.
I don't know anything about that kind of thing. About you penalizing you if you just name a channel.
Well,
how could they possibly penalize you?
I don't know if if it's already taken, you know what I mean. But I've noticed that there's a lot of mirror channels that try to mirror big YouTube channels just trying to get their views. So they literally steal their videos, and their channel's the same, and they have the same name and everything. So I don't think it's that big of a deal, but So anybody that wants to, actually, I gotta try to find out what's the best way for me to try to find out now since I'm streaming on P&K. Let me see here. And this is for anybody. If you want to subscribe, hey, go ahead. If you don't, hey, don't care. Do it if you want to. I mean, once again, it's just going to be a place where I will be dumping my crap at. And because I do editing for a living and stuff like that, there are going to be some very cool videos going up on there. Some videos that have taken me months to edit. We're talking about stuff with green screen. We're talking about CGI stuff. We're talking about, all that kind of stuff. So if you're into that kind of stuff and you don't mind a bit of cursing, go ahead and join. If you do mind that kind of stuff, then I'll see you here at P&K. Let's see. Okay, I think I got it here. Let's see. My channel. It's named Keith. Ah, so stupid.
Keith.
Okay.
It's named Keith. All right.
We're coming into. Actually, I'm posting a comment in chat right now with the new channel and the link, and then I'm gonna sign off this channel. So there. Oh, it's not letting me. Why? Web ad. Oh, because I'm not a moderator. You have got to be kidding me.
You're not a moderator?
I'm not a moderator of my own channel since I signed into another one. So now it's not letting me post the link. Oh, Jesus. That's just horrible.
Got to be the worst possible.
Seems legit. Okay. Here we go. Okay, let me switch back to P&K. Oh, boy. You see the hell that we live, people? Okay, let's try this again. Okay, here you go. Here's the channel for anybody that wants it. Once again, if you want it, take it. If you don't, don't.
But
Have
if you
fun.
do, but if you do, be prepared.
And I will say there is nothing there currently. I just literally got it done today, and but I'll be posting videos there very shortly. So, what's going on, everyone?
That's very good.
Now Ted's laughing at me. What a great time in Pine Bush, huh?
I had fun.
Yeah, I mean it was different.
Yeah, I didn't get to do my presentation like I had planned, but I did it to everybody in Bill's yard.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I know that sounds kind of silly, but that little
it was good.
And it went a long way.
It was good. And I still learned something. And you know what? I don't know who you had on your slides, like working the PowerPoint, but man, they were on point.
Well, I did have to tell him once in a while to, because he got bored and like kind of looked off in the distance.
Well, you don't have to mention that. I mean, God, the poor guy was trying, but man, he did a really, really good job.
Well, let me just give him some. Do you mind if I give the name out? Give the name out.
I don't know if he wants you to. I don't think he'd mind. I mean,
Okay.
if we ever see him again.
Well, no, we probably won't see him again because he's got a little bit of attention deficit disorder, so he may not notice.
He was kind of an ass anyway, so.
Well, don't say that on your stream.
Why
Come
not? Oh. Okay, PC principal.
Yeah.
Who was running your PowerPoint?
Well, it was none other than you, Keith.
Oh, yeah, that was.
My PowerPoint for me. That was a wonderful job.
Yeah.
You were really, really. It was extraordinarily well done.
I only messed up twice.
Well, I mean, I had to look at him and every now and then go, sometime today.
Oh.
Not really.
My bad. We need to come up with a better system. Like, I'm thinking about giving you a laser pointer so you can just blink it at me every time you need me to change it. But, so here's the thing.
With one eye.
After doing that, I think I have proven myself to be able to go to Norway with you and do the presentations over there. What do you think? All expenses paid? No?
Well, yeah, except that conference actually was canceled a few weeks ago.
Son of a... Gee,
hey,
why is that?
It's not the Keith channel.
Yeah, I know. Why did it get canceled?
There was some health issues in the family of the person putting on the conference, and rather than try and squeak through that and do all kinds of stuff, they figured that it would just be easier to postpone it.
Oh, okay. So it's postponed. It's not actually canceled.
No, I'm sorry. It's been postponed.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's okay.
Hey, Ted, you can leave Jeff's stuff up there, man. We're having a chill, laid back night. If he wants to promote himself, an independent researcher, let him go ahead and let him. That's fine. And look, I say that, Ted, right? This isn't a place to advertise. I'm sorry, I'm like totally contradicting my moderators. But yes, Ted, it's fine tonight. He can post, he can promote himself. He seems like a cool dude. He hasn't mentioned anything about a flat Earth or anything, so yeah. So Jeff, please don't be a flat earther. I just stuck up for you, man. But Ted's on point, man. Ted's doing his job. And I appreciate it, sir. And that's why you make the big bucks. I pay Ted, right?
Yes, you did, but I think he asked for a raise.
Oh, okay. Okay, high speed. High speed is Eric. I think I got this down. Am I right?
High speed? What do you mean?
High speed, low drag is Eric.
No.
No, don't tell me it's freaking Jade.
Yeah, I think it is.
No, it's not. It's Eric.
Yeah.
It's Eric.
No, I think it's Jade.
Are you kidding me?
Dude, look, no, Jade. Haha.
Dude, I thought you were just in KGRA's chat. And I thought we just went over this. Wasn't his name High Speed in the KGRA chat? I give up. Who? No, okay, it's Jade. All right.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm stupid. So Jade, welcome. I once again, getting the two confused. Like, here's an idea. How about you put like Jade in your name there somewhere?
Wait, that's rather novel.
Yeah, right. I don't know what it is because their names aren't even the same.
I know.
Like, it's not even like they're close, but for some reason I get those two mixed up when they're in chat somewhere. And I have no idea why. Now, what is Eric's name?
I know why. Because Eric is that's Eric from MUFON, Massachusetts.
Okay, Eric is American Road Warrior.
That's correct.
Okay, so maybe it's because they both have to do with like car stuff. Maybe that's why I get them mixed up.
I think it's because you only see them at Bill's.
No, I talked to Eric. Well, I talked to Eric through email and whatnot. And Jade, I pretty much just see at Bill's. But hopefully, we'll be doing some stuff out his way, this year at some point. Jade doesn't know it yet, but I'm pretty sure we'll do something this year.
Project. Talking about our secret project.
Yeah, we want because we had talked about last year about going up to Gettysburg and trying to catch some ghosts and stuff. And I don't really buy into all that, but you never know.
I don't either. I don't think that's.
And hello, Jenny. Welcome. I'm hoping everything's good in Texas.
Here, yeah.
Once again, we're just having one of those nights, kind of just relaxing because we got a little peek at the moon finally.
Look at Jen. She actually got a smile there with a lot of teeth in her mouth. See that?
Yeah.
Her face is yellow though.
But welcome to Jade. Welcome to Jenny. Welcome. Did we ever figure out how Lorraine's last name is spelled? Is it or said? Is it Babby or Baby? Did she post? Because I totally wasn't looking if she did.
I think that maybe.
Lorraine, please correct me because I don't want to go around saying your name wrong all this time. I'm sorry if you have already and I just didn't see it. But just type Baby Babby in the chat or
give the
Babby if it's Babby. How about that? That should help. And hello, Kristen Holiday.
Kristen Holiday. Ah, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, look at it. I mean, now look at the sky now. I mean, it's really, really pretty all of a sudden.
That's at night. Well, yeah. I mean, you still got some high clouds rolling across, but yes.
Well, it's easy.
You can say it.
Baby or baby.
That
because they never spelled the name right when they got off the boat. Sorry.
Wait, you can spell it baby or baby. Wait.
You can say it. Babby or baby.
Oh, is that what you can say? Is that how you spell Babby?
I don't know.
I'm so confused. Okay. Cool. So, you know what? I'm going to say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ask the authority. I'm going to ask Bill how he says it. And you know what? I'm just going to say it how he says it. Because didn't Lorraine send him some, like, syrup or something? So he must have did something right. So he'll know, right?
Well, she says you got it, so...
What did I get, though? I don't know what I get.
Well...
I don't even know if I said it right, but that's okay. Lorraine, you are the only Lorraine around, so I'll stick with Lorraine until I ask Bill.
We could put the accent on the wrong syllable, and just say Babi.
Yeah, but that'll be all back-assward.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I mean, no one really likes the full moon because it has such low contrast, But you can still pick up some things around the edges, and depending on the little bit of the rotation, the way the libration works, you can actually see some pretty cool things. What?
Mark,
What?
Mark, I totally appreciate you, but I have to say that was the single worst segue.
Well, I was trying to.
I got you. No, I understood exactly.
OCD thing you're doing here.
We went from Babby to. I'm all over the place tonight. Dude. It's the first moon stream, and we're almost over the moon cycle. It's insane. It's just I'm ready to talk about everything.
Well, then you.
But yeah, I do thank you for putting that out there though for me.
Call Lorraine Crazy Berry then.
No, I'm just gonna call her Lorraine. She seems like a very lovely lady.
So Crazy Berry is how they referred to her at one point.
Yeah. Fed Up Roberts, you believe in coincidences. 240,000 miles away, moon, 93 million miles away, sun, yet eclipse work perfectly. Yeah, nope, that happens sometimes. Perfect. You know what's crazy? Pluto eclipses Andromeda. Now, look how big Andromeda is, but look how big Pluto is. How does that happen? That's called a coincidence. That's perspective. What are your thoughts, Mark?
My thoughts are very simple.
Go for it.
I just told you my thoughts are very simple. No, when it comes to eclipses, the sun and the moon aren't perfectly aligned. They're not perfectly sized to each other. When it's a total solar eclipse, the sun is not really completely covered. It's completely covered, but a little more so. And when it's an annular eclipse, you see a little ring of sunlight around the moon. So the moon is slightly further away from the Earth when this happens. But we usually, if in general, you can say, well, the sun is 400 times further away than the moon. So you can, and that multiple sets it up to be a interesting coincidence that you see the eclipses as we do. But that's.
Should we say cosmic coincidence?
You may say whatever you like.
I mean, well, think about it this way. The closer something is, the more it's going to obstruct, right? So if you're on, now I'm not sure, what's Mars's moon? Phobos?
Phobos and Deimos.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's just say whatever one's
Captured
bigger.
asteroids, most likely.
Okay. So if you're on planet Mars and it happens that one of those two little moons cross in front of the sun, it would cause somewhat of eclipse, right? Now, maybe not to the point of what it does on Earth, but you're still going to get the shadow crossing across planet Mars. It's all about your perspective and where you are.
That's right. It is.
Great camera zooming in at 240,000 miles away. Well, thank you. Cameras are awfully expensive.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the telephotos do some strange things too. You know how it is when we capture a satellite going across the moon, as you often do, Keith, with PK space imaging.
Yep.
You see this black dot, and there's a tendency to use the size of the black dot as the actual size of the object compared to the size of the moon. And that's an incorrect reference to make, because the way telephoto lenses work, they make objects that are closer to us look bigger than the objects farther away. And there's a relationship there. So, for instance, when you look at the ISS, when it crosses in front of the sun, and there's a beautiful video of it crossing in front of the sun, and it goes fast. It goes, and it's all the way across the sun. It's amazing, and that's how fast it's moving in orbit, 17,500 miles an hour. But when you see that, you're looking at this object crossing the moon, the sun. You can't take the size of the ISS and compare it to the 865,000 mile diameter sun and make some type of size analysis of the ISS based on that.
Right.
Not unless you know a lot more data, including and most especially what type of lens is taking the picture. Because there is a way to make it look like it's far bigger than it is when you use these telephoto lenses. And it's just a perspective illusion based on the way the cameras work. And it's one of the most often received cases I get is these objects crossing either in front of the moon or whatever, where they look like they're just massive.
Right.
But they're not. They're a lot. They're smaller than they appear, and plus there's also video effects. They look like they're a little bigger than typically.
Yeah. It just
No, Ted, I haven't seen that.
Craft YouTube video of craft through the sun. Oh, okay.
I have not seen that. I have seen a lot of SOHO, the Solar Heliospheric Observatory imagery, which is SOHO's a satellite. It's parked out there, and it can look at the sun, and there's a couple of them that can see both sides of the sun.
Hello, Kev P. And what is the Great Awakening? And I hope it's not anything to do with Flat Earth, because there's already a great to do with that, and it's called the Great Dumbing.
Well,
but it seems like we're going that route with the moon being 3,000 miles away.
That's just...
There's like a conference in Atlanta that we have to go to next year. We are going to a Flat Earth conference.
Oh, we have to go.
We're going hell or high water. We are going, and not only that, but we're going to get a bunch of science friends to take with us.
I think that it'll be so much fun to go. They'll kick us out. They're going to kick us out.
Oh, yeah. But that,
they don't want to hear facts. Don't upset me. I've already made up. My mind's already made up. Don't bother my mind with facts.
Right? You try to talk to them with some sense, and it's just like they go, earmuffs.
That's exactly right.
Don't believe the lies, people. Don't believe the lies.
Yeah. All they hear is when you're saying, and the sun is 93 million miles away, and they're hearing. It's like okay, well, whatever you want, if that's what you want to hear.
Hey, listen, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm all for like this electric universe theory. I really find this interesting, and there might be some validity to it.
Well,
that is something to pursue. That is something to look about because there's a lot of knowns and unknowns about it, and it might actually turn out to be something.
And when we talk electric universe at some future point, we will in fact dive into it and see what is valid and what's not.
Exactly. But man, the flurfers just taking over, man. Jeez Louise. And it's like, no matter what you show them, they don't believe it. They don't care. Whatever.
Yeah. The flat earthers.
What? Science? Get that out of my face. No such thing as gravity. There's 10 million people guarding the ice wall around the flat disk.
Yeah.
Come on. Jeez Louise.
Yes. Yeah, actually, I like that whole thing because one of the things that they don't even bother to think about. Let's go practical. Yeah, they say that there's a fleet of ships every so often that prevent anyone from going any further toward the quote-unquote ice wall that's at the edge of the Earth. Well, no one bothers to say where are these ships made, what shipyard, and who maintains them.
Exactly.
And how do you secretly maintain a fleet of up to 10,000 ships or whatever it is to do this? And the answer is you don't, because they can't and they won't and they don't exist. So, but I don't know. I think that it's pretty silly. And I used to be kind of nice to the flat Earth folks because I just figured they didn't know any better. Then I discovered that that they do know better, but they choose not to know better.
Did he just ask why there isn't a measurement for curvature?
I didn't ask that. No.
Our resident flat earther for the night. Let me tell you this, Roberts. I do not dislike you. I'm trying very hard and honestly to wonder why in 2018, with the amount of science and the amount of information at one's fingertips, one could believe in such silliness. Now, that's silliness to me. That is a personal opinion. Others might have that opinion. Fine. But just having a hard time understanding it. Maybe I'm still sleeping. Maybe I'm a sheep. But it's just, hey, more power to you, bud. And as soon as you get that proof that the Earth is flat, and please, I would be glad to admit I was wrong. But
yeah, I mean, what's the end game though? I mean, what's the end game with
I've heard so many answers. It just depends on what flat earther you ask.
Yeah,
now,
I guess.
The one I see coming up the most is that it's a big conspiracy that they don't want you to know that the Earth is flat because they don't want you believing in the Bible because the Bible says there's a firmament and all this other stuff and whatever. So I heard the religious one. That's the one I get the most. But besides the other end games, like for other sects, SECTS.
Yes.
I don't know. Just to be different. I think most flat earthers are just doing it just to be contrary, just to have their own playground, if you will, their own group, their own cool kids in high school.
Yeah.
That challenge the norms, which is okay, cool. But water doesn't curve. Yeah, well, dude. Yeah, well, no.
What? Water doesn't curve?
Yeah. See, that comes down to the whole non-belief in gravity and that we're moving up at so many things per second or whatever. It just doesn't matter. But yeah, I mean, you can't really prove anything to anybody that doesn't believe in the actual science.
Is he trying to say that the ocean doesn't curve at the...
Of course. Our ocean doesn't curve. What are you, crazy?
Well, how do they say that without actually getting some kind of experimental proof?
They try.
I mean, do they not understand gravity? I mean, here's the thing, okay? Here's one thing to blow up their heads. If you talk about a gravity as a gravitational force, if you're here in the United States, let's say you're in Pennsylvania, where Keith is located in a secret bunker. You're gonna have to be in a bunker after this. And somebody now in, say, Hawaii is also, you're on the phone with them. They're actually standing at an angle to you because their feet and their body is aligned with the center of the earth, straight up and down. And you're at a different angle. So they're partially way around the world. So if you had them in front of you and could see how they were just in absolute position, they'd be leaning away from you, some number of degrees, because they're aiming at the center of the earth from their perspective. And so someone in China would actually, they're well, not China, but sort of in the Indian Ocean from Pennsylvania.
You know what? Well,
you'd be looking at their feet, the bottom of their feet.
Yeah.
See? And people don't buy that. They don't understand how that works, so they just ignore it and they say it can't happen.
Well, our friend Robert here also says that look at that Polaris has been the northern constellation for as long as history, and we know that is not true either. Recorded history, maybe.
No, actually, I actually did an entire...
I know you did it the Love and Pine Bush. So, Mark, would you like to explain how Polaris is not the only northern star at certain times in history and future?
Yeah, well, because, see, the Earth is spinning like a top, okay? But like a top, when a top starts... When you set up a top on a table and you spin it, it stays perfect for just a few minutes, a few seconds. Then it starts to wobble a little bit as the energy is reduced. In a similar way, when something's tugging at the energy of the Earth, like a big moon that's circling it, it tends to cause the Earth to transmit some of that energy to it. Okay, that's how it works. It's all about momentum transfer. Well, when the moon does this and the Earth starts to wobble, the pole sort of pirouettes in a circle, as does the South Pole. It pirouettes through the middle. And so it translates in this little circle, and that circle takes 26,000 years to complete. So the North Star has been Deneb in Cygnus, Vega, Thuban, Vega in the constellation Lyra, Thuban, which is in the constellation Draco, and a variety of others over the last 26,000 years. And that's documented. So, you know what? I'm sorry, you can't sit there and tell me that Polaris is the only one, because it really makes you look kind of like you don't really read enough. I hate to say that. And when it comes to someone, when they say these things with absolutes, like they say it absolutely, like, Polaris is the only North Star that's ever been. Actually, that's not true. And would you like to explain why you say that? And then they disappear. You never hear from them, because they'll say it and it's hit and run with them. They just hit and run. Now, if Fed Up Roberts wants to actually say something, that's fine. Now, he says constellations have stayed fixed for as long as history. I think he's trying to say, in that kind of imperfect English, that the constellations are immutable. They don't change. We witness them change every year. We can tell that there's been a subtle change. For instance, one of the closer stars to us is Barnard's star. It's in a constellation, and it's racing through the sky at a fairly good clip. So each year we can see it in a new position in the sky. Okay, yeah, and we see other stars. These are called proper motions. These motions of these stars. We see these proper motions changing all the time. So I mean, or we see the results of these proper motions.
And Roberts, there's no reason to get mad, man. I mean, this is why we keep an astronomer on staff.
You know what? Yeah, only I can get paid. Yeah.
It's just
That's
no
okay.
measurements of curvature exist.
See,
pick any two locations and find the curvature. There is no measurement. This is what he's saying.
No measurements. I'm reading it now. No measurements of curvature. I don't even know why I'm giving this any time, but no measurements of curvature exist. Pick any two locations and find the curvature. There is no curvature, no measurement. Well, okay. Okay, I pick Keith's house in Pennsylvania, and I pick Tokyo. Measure the distance between them, and let's just do it this way. Take a 12-inch ruler, start at Keith's house, and line them up end to end, and just keep going until you get to Hawaii. Let's say you can even travel across the ocean magically with a little magic carpet or something, and you hover over the Pacific, and you put these little floaty rulers, and you just line them all up behind each other. As you go, you're going to find that these little arcs, these little tiny rulers, are going to add up to a part of an arc, a circle. Okay, and that circle is a curved circle because circle by nature is curved. And the curve of the circle is going to be completely consistent with an 8,000-mile diameter sphere. Yep. And if you have a problem with that, you have a problem with the actual fact. Okay.
Here's the funny part. He's saying no theory, do it in real life.
Well, why us?
Yeah.
You're the one that says this is you do it.
Well, this has already been proved for hundreds of years. Why are we the ones that have to prove it to you? You should be proving it to us that you can't do it.
He can prove it every night. All he has to do is go outside and document how jet contrails look in the sky. When contrails look vertical, when they're far away, they look vertical. That's because the Earth is curved, but that's okay. Otherwise it means they're going straight up, right? Yeah. But that's okay. And
let me just say,
night and the sun is setting. Okay, if the sun's setting on the west, okay, look on the eastern horizon. What do you see? You see a dark band that's slowly rising into the sky. What is that? Well, that's the shadow of the Earth itself.
Yeah,
that can't happen unless you have a spherical Earth. I'm sorry, but whatever,
Listen, the science has to match observation. It's observation of what we see. And when you talk about sunlight, how the sun's rays hit the Earth, there's no possible way it's 3,000 miles away. When you set certain, like on the equator, it matches the spherical model. There's a reason why you go into space and they blow a water bubble and the water forms round. It's because of gravity.
You keep saying water doesn't curve. It actually absolutely curves. Gravity, okay, if you look at the ISS imagery, which of course you don't believe in, if you look at the ISS imagery, when they take a ball of water and they kind of squirt it out of a straw very slowly, it forms a ball. That's because of what's called the minimal surface area rule, if you want to think of it that way. It's the law of minimal surfaces, where the lowest energy position for an object that is squishy and movable, like water and or a molten planet, the lowest energy construct is a sphere. That's why all throughout the universe, the big object, the main feature, is spherical this and that. Okay, planets, stars. Okay, and if you have an asteroid that's a little bit small, then it can actually, cure and or cool into a oblate or non-spherical shape. Once it reaches a certain size, then the mass of that asteroid will actually allow it to become a sphere. What I mean by allow, it means it will actually basically form the sphere as it's forming if it's a certain mass. And that's backed up by not just empirical data, that is to say data that's not tested, but actual data. So I don't know. I mean, I don't understand why people think this.
Let me just say how proud I am of our subscribers. Look at Vicky laying the smack. Great people.
Now he says, why doesn't Earth spin 1,000 miles per hour in the live ISS feed? Well, that's because you don't understand the perspective, and that's okay. A lot of people don't. All right. The perspective is that you are on a ball that's spinning 1,000 miles an hour. Yes, actually, like 1,020 miles an hour, but who's counting? And if you go and you take off from that ball in a rocket, the atmosphere is moving the same speed as the planet. Okay, and so as you take off, you're moving at the same speed of the planet, and any speed you have is just going to become additive. Once you rocket in the direction to move into orbit, you're just going to add up that. You're going to add to that. So that's why the Earth doesn't look like it's going 1,000 miles an hour, because you had an initial velocity when you left the planet, and that was 1,000 miles an hour. and that was 1,000 miles an hour toward the east. Okay, so that's why. And
please just keep answering his questions, just because we can.
What is 1,000 miles per hour in the moon landing footage? Well, it is. Okay, because as the astronauts sat there, they actually watched, the Earth changing in front of them over the course of the hours. Now you might say, why don't you see it? Well, the reason you don't see it is because, of course, it's big. It's so big it takes time for that to happen. Jupiter and Saturn, I mean, they have these planets, which are much, much bigger than the Earth. They go around in like just about 10 hours or so. Okay, they orbit. They rotate in 10 hours. That's a hell of a lot shorter than a day on the Earth, and the planets are much bigger. So how can they do that? We never see it. How's that? Well, we do see it, because when we were looking at Jupiter the other night, right in my live stream on SkyTour live stream with Mark D'Antonio, we actually watched the red spot of Jupiter migrating on to the disk of the planet as we kept talking.
Yep. And now, of course, it dives in. Quit defending the lies. Well, we're not defending lies. We're telling you the answers you keep asking. That you're asking the questions. We're telling you the answers. It's not that hard.
So, dude, the guy that says this, okay, defending the lie. Well, how about this? Is it a lie to point the telescope at Jupiter and watch the red spot change position? No, it's not a lie. That's called experimental evidence. So you can't deny that something's happening there that isn't matching your theory right off the bat.
If it doesn't match his belief, he's not going to believe it.
Oh, I don't care. It's not subscribing to NASA lies. It's actually doing an experiment to show it. So, And
I should mention my guest tonight is Mark D'Antonio, professional astronomer and host of SkyTour Radio on KDRA with Amanda Curran, Sunday nights at 9 p.m. 3 years for a Clark expedition around Antarctica. 60,000 miles. All right. I'm just about done now. Now it's just getting silly.
Hey, D, how are you, hon? No, I mean, if you think about this, okay, is he talking about someone that circumnavigated Antarctica and went around? I mean, Antarctica is a very large continent, So is it possible that by circumnavigating, they got a large number, for sure. But, is he confusing what might actually have been done versus what he thinks was done? Probably. Because if you start like in one peninsula of Antarctica and you walk around all of Antarctica, you go all the way around Antarctica, in and out of every single bay, every single harbor, and follow the contours of the land all the way around the area where the land meets the sea in Antarctica, you're going to circumnavigate Antarctica. At some point, you're going to come back to where you started. And when that happens, you're right back to where you started, and you will find that you have tallied up a certain number of miles. So I don't care. I mean, it's like, the people that take partial science and turn it into this other thing, that kind of ignorance is kind of really yeah,
it's they get lost down the rabbit hole. They find these flat earth channels, these guys that run these channels make it think like they know what they're talking about, when any real scientist can just totally blow them away at any given time, which is why the Mark Sargents of the world won't take on actual real scientists. They'll just debate other people that actually don't have science degrees or anything like that. But
I debated him one time, and he cleaned the floor with me. And it's like, now you might say, well, how come you couldn't? Why is it he cleaned the floor with you? I mean, you're an astronomer. Why could you fix this? Why could you do the right thing? Well, the reason I didn't is because I didn't take it seriously. And I was just kind of like having fun with the guy the whole time.
When he was trying to get an actual serious debate out of it.
He was trying to get a serious debate, and I was like, serious about what? The Earth is flat? What are you, stupid? What are you, a moron? It was my fault. Okay, but if he wants to debate me again, okay, well, we can talk about it, because the fact is, I did people say, how come you haven't seen, and they use this too, how come you haven't seen photos of the Earth from space besides, say, the Apollo 8 photo or whatever? And I'm like, wait, really? Well, how about the 1946 photo from the V2 rocket took from 65 miles up? How about 1960, the Tyros weather satellite, first image of the entire Earth globe, okay, from space. 1961. All right, Alan Shepard takes a picture of the Earth. It goes on and on. And I did an article on this, which is on my Facebook page. You can look for it. and it talks about all the pre-computer photos of the Earth that were taken.
He just said 40,000 feet necessary to understand. 40,000 feet will get you nothing but flat. You need to go way higher.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Mad Mike Hughes should have had a passenger. I think I know who.
Well, what did they say? It was 80. Was it around between 70 and 80,000?
You get up to about 85,000, and you get a suggestion of the curvature.
Yeah.
When you get to about 120,000, you can see the curvature of the Earth.
Yeah.
And no civilian jetliner flies that high. The U-2 barely makes it to the height where you can actually see the curvature of the Earth. The U-2, the highest flying military aircraft. You know?
The horizon always rises to eye level because you are rising the perspective. You're in a plane, so you're not using the ground as your level. You're using the clouds or the freaking atmosphere. You're using a different. Gee, never mind.
No, that's fair enough.
Yeah, they're resetting their level.
I'd ask him. I'd like to ask him a couple questions though. Okay.
Good luck.
No, it doesn't matter. I'll just ask questions, and I just want to get the answers.
Okay.
And I promise you, he won't answer a single one.
Go ahead.
Okay, Fed Up Roberts, I got something for you. You know, if the Earth is flat, let's talk about this. We already talked about the defending a lie, okay? I told you experimental data shows directly. We just do it in the telescope. We did it the other night, in fact. So you're ignoring that, but that's okay. That's what they do.
Classic.
How about this? Because of the flat Earth, the sun has to be considered some type of spotlight that approaches us and then goes away from us for the course of a day. Now, if that's the case, the sun has to change its diameter. Its angular diameter has to change. It's a little small light in the distance, and then it becomes a big light when it goes over us, and then becomes a little small light again. Oh, but wait. The sun stays the same size. All right? The sun stays the same size all day long. We never see it recede into the distance and get smaller. Ever. Never have. Never will. I just want an explanation of that. And we'll wait for that.
Yeah.
Another one. Now, and the flat earthers have a way of dealing with this, and it's mind bending how they literally have to shoehorn their theories into this. But the sun doesn't appear to the sun would not appear to rise above a horizon in the flat Earth world. In the flat Earth world, the sun would be, like I said, approaching from a distance, fade when it gets fade as it gets farther away. However, how does it actually rise above a flat horizon that we might see here on the Earth? Your horizon is flat. Let's say you're out in the plains of Kansas or whatever. Kansas is actually pretty mountainous, but let's say Oklahoma. You're out there looking in the plains and you see the sun rise, coming up. The ball rises above the horizon. Well, that's not right. How does that happen in a flat Earth? It can't, because technically, you should be able to see as far away as everything. Okay? And now I want to know why don't you see, 10,000 miles away or 3,000 miles away? Okay? You say 3,000 sun miles away, whatever that means. Can you see London? I have no idea what English that is. Rephrase that in real English and ask again. But the sun wouldn't appear to rise above a horizon in a flat Earth, and it does, of course. Then, of course, there's the Coriolis force thing. You can always look at the Coriolis force, I think. And in the flat Earth scenario, that Coriolis force, that force would not change its fundamental direction, yet it does. Video from the International Space Station, too, actually. I was just thinking of this. In those experimentations in zero G using liquids, you see these liquids becoming balls. I mentioned this earlier. That's of course, the law of minimal surfaces taking over. It makes molten objects or liquid objects into round spherical objects because that's the least amount of energy required to hold that form. So that's why that's the basic favorite shape of the universe. So now in the flat Earth, any or all of that should be faked and a lie. And for some reason, it has to be a lie. And you would have to say, but why? Why are we lying about if it's the case? Why would we lie about the nature of the Earth? If it was really flat, we just would have grown up knowing it was a flat Earth. We wouldn't have had anybody complaining about it and saying, let's not tell anybody. What do you mean? Let's not tell anybody. It's such a silly argument, and it just makes no sense. Now another one, another one too. Astronauts, they tumble through the ISS, and in 0G, and you say, well, that can't possibly happen. That's all a big lie. It's all CG. Well, guess what? Astronauts were tumbling around in spacewalks long before computers existed that could even show them doing that. So I don't know. I don't know how we got this imagery and video of folks doing this like way before the capability to fake it arose. But I guess that's just what happens.
Well, he keeps on bringing up Operation Paperclip. Oh, yeah, we get it. Everybody knows what Operation Paperclip is. But, dude, seriously. I mean, come on. Really?
Now, I have another one. This guy, fed up. You're actually bringing up all these points, but you're not answering a single one of mine.
No, it's just like throwing out,
you can throw out anything you want. Just go look. We can all look on Wikipedia. We can all look up the little flat Earth sites ourselves. But what I want you to do is answer one simple question, okay? And they can never do it, okay? And I told you wouldn't, and he's not. So how about this? Okay, GPS satellites, okay? They have all kinds of reasons why GPS satellites aren't real, and I think that's hilarious, some of them, okay? In the flat Earth, there's no adequate explanation for GPS. They say that that balloons carry these satellites was one theory, and not one balloon has ever been photographed. Then they said that maybe they're on antennas. Oh, okay. So there have to be, for any one planar area, there have to be antennas that will cover all the areas around that area to make these GPS satellites set up. Because when you go, like when I fly one of my drones that has like the infrared on, when I fly the infrared drone, what happens is it locks on to between 6 and 8 and sometimes 9 GPS satellites right from my driveway. So that means that there's like between 8 and 9 balloons with GPS satellites on them within the range of my within the range of my drone. Okay, and not only that, these GPS satellites also are, I guess, invisible because they've never been seen by airline pilots. They've never been seen falling out of the sky because the balloons popped. Okay. And someone's maintaining this entire many thousands of satellite fleet out there somewhere, and when the helium starts to diffuse out of the balloon, it's going to start to come down, and when it comes down, it's going to change its relative position. Well, we don't have any errors in a GPS from that. We don't see any errors from GPS like that. GPS is accurate to a certain distance, and that's that. Mm-hmm. So why don't we see that? Okay. How come no one's ever found one of these GPS balloons on the ground after it came down because its helium was diffusing out? No one's ever saw it. No one's ever done it. It never happened. So I don't know. So
well, here's what we're gonna do, Mr. Roberts. We're just gonna agree to disagree at this point. You said about the question about the curvature. We've answered that 6 different ways. And obviously, you're not going to accept it. So, we're kind of just. Look. I mean, you're asking tons of questions. We're answering them, and they're still not good enough for you. So there's nothing. I know.
I've asked him to answer a single question of mine, and he has not answered a single one of them.
It's just more and more, topics from flat Earth channels. Yeah.
Throws out more diversions because he can't answer any of these questions.
Exactly.
Look, I'll make it easy. Let me just make it real easy for you. Okay. As easily as I can. Okay.
By the way, there's a difference between CGI and composite. We need to learn the difference, okay?
Yes.
Just throwing it out there. Google is your friend.
Well, apparently not his.
Not a lot of people's, obviously.
Okay, let's just keep it real simple, okay? I just want an answer to one question. Never mind all these things. Let me just never mind all these things that you keep throwing out, and never mind all the things I'm telling you because you're not listening anyway. I just want one answer. Why doesn't the angular diameter of the sun change as it's quote-unquote approaching us for the daytime and receding from us at the nighttime? The angular diameter of that sun should change. It does not. And that's really pretty much
that can be measured. Just go out and get yourself a piece of welder's film or some, a filter and look at the sun and use a little tape measure and go outside and look up and measure in the sky. It's going to be very small, by the way, and just measure it 6, 7, 8, 12, 20 times throughout the day and you will see that the sun never changes its size, and
Right.
that cannot happen.
Not even at sunset when you think it does, because of the fact that you think that it's being quote unquote magnified by the atmosphere. Guess what? It's not. Okay?
Paul
That's
Trillo, let me answer that question for you. You realize you're on Earth, right? You're spinning with Earth when you take off. You have that.
You have that.
Am I wasting? Yeah, am I wasting my time here? I mean,
No, I don't think so. I think all you have to do is make them think, and then they can research the
yeah.
rest.
I mean, you're part of that. It's just like
I'll never go on that stream again because I'm so embarrassed.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's just like you're riding in a car. Okay, there's nothing to stop you. If the Earth were to stop right now, everything around you, including yourself, would go flying at 1,020 miles an hour.
That's right, and hit the other wall.
You know?
You have an initial velocity on the Earth. I know it's hard to believe, but everything's moving at that speed. It's called relative. Okay, it's called reference frame. Within our reference frame, okay, there's nothing moving around you, yet you're moving at over 1,000 miles an hour. The whole atmosphere around you, your house, the ground, your car in the driveway sitting still with its engine off, is all moving at 1,000
because
miles.
your origin point is on Earth itself. The only way you're going to be able to take that measurement, that what you're talking about, is if you're in a vacuum chamber that goes all the way up to space, that's not touching the Earth, and we drop you down the tube. Then you'd be able to experience what you're talking about.
Actually, that's an experiment that has been done where they actually do that to prove the Earth is rotating. And what happens is they find out that something that should not hit the sides does hit the sides. Mm-hmm. And that's because of the nature of the forces that are acting on it. That's even more complicated. If you can't explain the angular diameter of the sun to these folks, don't even bother to try that vacuum tube experiment.
But let me make this point to Robert. I do not dislike flat earthers, okay, themselves. I'm pretty sure you all are very good people. I just have trouble understanding, your way of thinking when all this proof is there. But, hey, more power to you. Once again, I'll say it again. On this channel, we kind of like to move into the future and not stay 2,000 years in the past.
And then he writes, the deeper you dig, the more obvious it becomes. These are just like. Is
there like a spreadsheet that flat earthers give out? Like, hey, when you're on a science channel or something,
statement,
make these points.
Standard statement, keep believing the lie. I've seen that one a lot.
Oh yeah.
The deeper you dig, the more obvious it becomes. No, actually, the deeper I dig, the more clearly my answer is.
How often have you been called a NASA shill?
Oh yeah. There's that one too. That's a fun one. Yeah, I'm a big NASA shill. I guess because and I don't need NASA. Like I said, I went out to Sky Tour live stream, and did a Sky Tour just the other night. And we had Jupiter in there. You could see the red spot. It was rotating onto the surface of the planet and kind of got larger, of course, it went from being foreshortened at the edge to more flat, as it got toward us. And then near when it rotated off, it actually started to look like it was more foreshortened again. Clearly, Jupiter's a sphere. That's a rotating object on the surface of the sphere. So I'm sorry. That happened like with Jupiter. Okay, so the Great Red Spot was rotating. By the way, the red spot's about the size of the Earth. Just so you know, 89,000 miles across. That's pretty big. A lot bigger than the 8,000 miles across.
Fake.
Yeah, right.
Fake space. There's a firmament. There's a big glass dome.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, guys. I mean, seriously. We wouldn't have rockets or anything like that if.
Oh, they claim the rockets can't get to the dome, and they say that this is the rocket hitting the dome. Okay, well, that particular video that they like to use to say that the rocket hit the dome has nothing to do with the rocket hitting anything in the sky. It has everything to do with the fact that the rocket's charge went off to actually deploy its parachute. And so, of course, it ground to a halt.
All right, Roberts will be well.
Okay,
be safe. Do a little more research and whatnot. Hopefully. Come back and good luck to you.
Yeah, see, that's what they do. He never answered a single question I posed because he can't, and he never even bothered to try because he can't.
Yeah.
It's not because he's not intelligent. It's just because he doesn't have the answer.
Yeah, and it's a lot easier to believe wayward YouTube videos of these people that act like they know what they're talking about, and they seem very credible and very believable, and but all it takes is a little bit of digging, and you find out that they're so full of it their eyes are brown. So what can you do? But it looks like, man, we have lost the moon, haven't we?
Yeah, I know.
Those clouds really came in. Who do we got hanging out in chat, by the way? Let's do another one of these, shall we? Let's go down the participant list.
We have Cosmic Observer. We have D, right?
Oh, wait a minute. We got Charlie Golden, another good astronomy channel. Check that out if you guys get a chance. Of course, Cosmic has showed up. He hasn't been around for a while, but he's back again. And, of course, Mr. Roberts that we were just talking to, and Jenny, and John Glenn, and Jello, and Paul, and Pie, and Slam Dunk, and Suburban, and... Let's see, just switching around on me live. Ted and the Blues Man and Vicky and Lorraine and that's who I have as active participants anyway. And welcome to everybody that's just listening and
MMT also.
And not actually using the chat. Once again, it's just a kickback night. Lots of clouds. Probably won't ever see the moon again tonight anyway.
Ever. It's gone. The oceans are no longer going to show tides. That's it, man. It's going to be just an even keel except for the tides caused by the sun.
What are you thinking? Do we want to play in the universe sandbox or what?
I think that we should.
I think we should too. So let me find out right now.
Paul's going to do
how much longer we're going to go. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pop the music on for a minute or so while I text him. And then we'll be back and we'll let you know where we're going from there. Does that sound like a plan?
Sounds like a plan to me. I think we should.
Okay.
And by the way, just so everybody, in case you don't know, I've upgraded my studio capability here, so my sound should be a lot better than it's been before. So when I do Sky Tour Radio, it sounds a little bit tinny, but I think that we're past that now. You know, I can add some more qualities into the voice, which help it make it a little more understandable.
It's sounding pretty good.
I hope so.
Pretty good. But we will be right back, guys. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with you.
Don't you go nowhere.
Hey guys, just a quick update. I just talked to Paul. He says he might see the end of the, so we might get a couple more clear spots. So we're gonna hang out with it a little bit. But besides that, we'll be back in a minute. And then you're back, and so am I.
And my front.
And my front. Welcome back. We got a little clear spot finally here on A.K.A Space Imaging.
You're funny, man.
I'm funny.
Really, man.
Back now that we're done with the Flat Earth conversation. Welcome to everybody that's joining us in the chat once again. It's myself and Mark D'Antonio hanging out on a Sunday night before Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day to our friends in the U.S. Anything else, Mark?
Oh, no, not at all. I'm just sort of hanging here. I'm actually playing around in Universe Sandbox 2 at the moment in the background. Mm-hmm, you can't see it because I'm, just doing this on my computer.
Right.
I was looking at the screen. I thought I saw a little shimmering on the moon, like a jet contrail had crossed over it. Is that possible?
Yeah, it's possible. Very, very possible. You know, he is down there, and he does have the airport just to his north.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, okay. So what do we got? D, what's everybody talking about? What do we miss?
I was reading the comments. There's actually some pretty interesting stuff there. You know, people are talking about all kinds of things. Luckily, they're not focusing on any of the things that we were saying. They were just having their own little fun conversations, which is good.
Hey, whatever works.
So it's right. I like when people.
It's like a space bar.
I like that's funny. I like when people enjoy themselves out there.
Yeah. So here's the thing: if it stays clear, we might just end up doing the Universe Sandbox tomorrow night. If it happens to stay clear for a couple more minutes, so that'll give us a backup to do if it's cloudy tomorrow night. Once again, we weren't planning on streaming tonight. It just happened to, clear just enough where Paul texted me and said, "Let's go," and I'm like, "All right, let's do it." So, and now we're getting some clearness.
Clarity.
Yeah. Clarity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay, now we're getting somewhere.
Yep.
Yes,
oh, you know what? I need this right here. There we go. That way
what are you trying to do, young Skywalker?
What are you doing, young Skywalker?
A part of a rebel alliance and a traitor.
Little glass does wonders.
That's 2 weeks attention for you, bud. I'll see you at 4.
Hey, that was PC Principal.
PC Principal. Our new mascot. Oh.
I'm being asked a question here. Someone's asking me about a new Van Allen belt.
Yeah, go for it.
I know that here's what happens with our Van Allen belts. There's actually several belts, but sometimes there's another belt that shows up every now and then, and it's the result of an active sun. And when we have an active sun, on occasion, this other Van Allen belt rears its head. Now, all the Van Allen belt is the trapped particles from the sun, the solar wind, getting held in somewhat of like a stasis in our magnetic field. All right, and when we have these trapped particles, we get this high energy radiation that's sort of held in place, and that's what we see. And now that the energy, the radiation follows the lines of our magnetic field and goes down around the poles. It spirals around the poles, it loses some energy, interacts with the upper atmosphere molecules, and of course gives us things like northern lights, known as the aurora borealis for northern, and then the southern lights, the aurora australis for the southern lights. And this interaction with these molecules, what happens is the molecules will absorb some of this energy, and then they selectively emit certain frequencies. And certain molecules, like oxygen, will emit a certain frequency, and nitrogen a different frequency at times. And that's what gives rise to the blue and green colors that we see in the aurora borealis, and sometimes the red colors. Nice. So these are the direct result of our magnetic field basically saving our lives, because without the magnetic field, that high intensity radiation would reach the ground, and most importantly would reach our atmosphere. And then what happened at Mars would happen here. Any water vapor that evaporated from any standing water would actually be what's called disassociated by this high energy radiation, and it's usually the ultraviolet side because that's higher energy. And the ultraviolet energy would take an H2O molecule, which is 2 hydrogens and an oxygen, and it would actually split them apart. The hydrogen would typically get lost to space, and in Mars' case, the oxygen that was there would make its way back to the ground and get bound up in some of the iron compounds. This is going to give us iron oxide, or rust. And we all know that rust is a reddish brown, and we know that Mars is a reddish brown. So we get a liberal coating of rusty iron compounds on Mars.
Okay,
So
now we're
I think
getting
it's
somewhere.
kind of interesting to look at the origins of our solar system in light of the past, how the sun affected the planet and so forth. And in Mars' case, the continual bombardment of the planet globally thinned the atmosphere. Now you might say, well, wait, why did it thin? Where's the magnetic field on Mars? Well, it did have one. And Mars had a true dynamo at one point, maybe, like our Earth has one. And on our Earth, it's a solid inner core of iron and nickel, and an outer core that's actually molten. And the passage of the outer core over this inner core, because they rotate at different rates, that different rate of rotation causes electrical currents to be generated. And these electrical currents give rise to magnetic fields. And that's where our magnetosphere, or our magnetic field, comes from.
And I should just say right now, we didn't lose the moon. He just has to do the meridian flip real quick.
I saw that. You know,
I'll be back.
Yeah, I was covering for that. You know.
Oh, my bad.
No worries. I'm kidding.
Better watch
So,
your microaggressions,
you know, when we
bro.
look at Mars, on the other hand, you know, Mars shows only a few little areas on it that have some kind of stored magnetic field. What do I mean by stored magnetic field? Well, here on Earth, at our mid-Atlantic spreading ridge, we actually show the in the iron crystals within the rock, you can actually see which way the magnetic field was pointing and its intensity, and you can actually tell the evolution of our magnetic field here on the Earth. And for people who think that the Earth is only 5,000 years old, you look at these different strips showing that the Earth's magnetic field has shifted. That's called the geomagnetic pole shift. It's not an actual pole shift where the Earth flips upside down. That's the silly, the silly thing that it gets made into by people that love to be doomsayers. I mean, and we may actually be,
or as our friend Dave down in New Zealand calls it, fear porn.
Fear porn, yeah, well, and fear mongering, yeah.
He uses that to refer to the Nibiru sites and the pole flippings and the underground volcano people, that basically the people with Chicken Little syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. And there's some. Oh, we're going to Jupiter. He wasn't flipping. See that? So, but yeah, and so it's really interesting though, because geomagnetic shift is something that's occurred many times in our history, and it takes thousands of years for the pole to actually do that flip, that geomagnetic shift, and it's called, the actual term is geomagnetic reversal. But the thing is, birds and other life forms, they've been through it before. Evolved beings have been through it before, and the way it happens so slowly that they just slowly get used to it, and they just work at the new. Okay, this is the new way the pole's pointing. This is the new way that this is moving. This is the new magnetic field line. Here's something people don't know. If you go down the Earth, if you go from east to west through the United States with a compass, you'll find that the needle that points north very rarely points to the north. There's some places in the U.S. where you can go, and the needle that's supposed to point north will point west, directly west. And the reason for that is because the crust of the Earth has a lot of iron compounds in it that mess up the entire magnetic field, and especially as read by a compass. And you'll find that the magnetic field lines locally are very different. So you literally have to get the local magnetic field line map to figure out where north really is when you use your compass. It's not a simple look there's north, look there's south. It doesn't work that way. Now, maybe we're in the middle of a pole shift. We don't know, because the pole shift was going to take thousands of years. And the human history, literally, if you think of it this way, started when we started keeping our own history. And when was that? Well, yes, we drew in caves with pictographs, and we pecked in rocks, these little images, and those are petroglyphs. But really, we started keeping real history when the first language was developed. And that was kind of around the time of the Sumerian cuneiform language. And that language was actually the bedrock, if you don't mind the pun about rock, was the bedrock for starting historical observation and record keeping. And so when we look at how that's happened and how we've been doing that, that was 5,000 years or so ago. And in that time, a geomagnetic reversal, could have happened within that amount of time, maybe a little longer, but maybe it started sometime after that, and maybe we're in the middle of one. But birds will and animals that use the magnetic field will just adapt slowly because it doesn't happen overnight. Planes aren't going to fall out of the sky. And the doom and gloom folks hate it when you tell them there's no doom and gloom with geomagnetic reversal. It's happened several times, many times before. Many times.
And that's 2 days to take it for you.
Yep.
We just had Jupiter and its Galilean moons, for anybody that was wondering.
Right, and then Jupiter was taken away quickly by NASA, who was lying to us.
Yeah, I think he was. I think he might still be trying to get on it. I'm not sure if he's going back to the moon or not, but hey, what can you do?
No, it's okay. That's okay. I mean, I'll just...
And Mark, for the people listening that maybe don't know, you want to name the 4 Galilean moons for them?
Sure I can. Would you like me to?
Sure. Actually, you do one, I'll do one, and then you do one, and then I'll do one.
But I'll do my favorite. I'll do Europa.
Okay, and I'll do Callisto.
All right, I'll do Ganymede.
And I'll do Io.
Nice.
Nice.
Those are the Galilean satellites, and they're called Galilean satellites because Galileo could see them through his optic tube, which is his little telescope that he had manufactured. And he rationally deduced that the moons were going around Jupiter, and of course that indicated to him that the Earth wasn't the center of all things as well. And he got labeled for heresy for a variety of reasons, including that. But Copernicus really showed us that the Earth is not the center of the universe. And for people that like flat Earth, one of the things they really don't like is having to explain how come we have the phases of Venus and how come Mercury also shows phases, like Venus and like the moon. And the reason is because it's closer to the sun than us. But don't tell them that. They don't want to hear about it. Because a moon that's only 3,000 miles away, shouldn't have phases the same way as Venus. And how do you explain Venus?
That brings up a question earlier that, believe it or not a lot of people know. And that comes in, if the sun is out, how can you see a full moon as well, or close to full moon? Because, we all know the full moon is opposite of the sun. But how do we see a moon and the sun in the sky together? And believe it or not, a lot of people don't know the answer to this. It's the same reason why a lot of people equate eclipses to somehow the Earth being involved, with it, whether it be shadows or whatnot. So why don't you basically tell people why, and just in a condensed form, why it is possible that we can see a moon and the sun in the sky pretty much almost together if we wanted to.
Well, if you're talking about the fact that the moon orbits the Earth, then at any one point we're likely to see the moon and the sun together in the sky. You can see the moon in the daytime sky with no problem. Now, it has a little blue cast to it because of the fact that the atmosphere, with the bright sunlight, the atmosphere is taking the blue light from the sun, because the sun is made up of red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet light, the full spectrum. The molecules in the atmosphere love to take in the light from the sun and re-emit it. Okay, it's a spontaneous interaction, but they kind of everything but the blue light they let go back in the same direction it was coming from. But the blue light scatters in every direction. That's called Rayleigh scattering, R-A-Y-L-E-I-G-H, Rayleigh scattering. And that Rayleigh scattering allows the blue light to get to us. Now, when the sunlight hits the water molecules in the clouds, then we get a different type of scattering. We get Compton scattering, and that's all the light gets scattered, and that's why clouds look white, because it's the white light from the sun that we're seeing. So it's Rayleigh and Compton scattering, the two types of scattering that actually, make the objects in our sky look the way they do. Now, during the cycle of the moon, obviously, when the moon is what we call new moon, it's on the same side of the Earth as the sun, and it means that the lit side of the moon is always half lit, always, and except in an eclipse. And when it's on the same side of the Earth as the sun, then it's that far side of the moon that's fully lit. Then as it goes counterclockwise, if we look at these down from the top, as it goes counterclockwise around the Earth, we start to see a little part of it illuminated by the sun. And that little part is what we call the crescent, a waxing crescent. Then as it makes its way just about a fourth of the way around in its orbit, we see that from our perspective, that the right-hand half is lit up. Now, truly, the full half of the moon is lit up. We just can't see the other side that's illuminated. And because it's a fourth of the way around, we call it the first quarter, 1/4 of the way around. Then, as it goes a little further, a little more of that moon is illuminated, and then we have that weird word gibbous, Gibbous, and that's waxing, meaning increasing in size, waxing gibbous, and that's when it's between that first fourth of the way around, or the first quarter, and the full. And then when the moon is full, it's also very far away. So we can see, from our perspective, we can see the illuminated moon, and then on the opposite horizon we have the sun that's just setting or just set. Okay, and the moon is directly opposite the sun. So as the sun sets, the moon rises, and that's as it's just becoming a full moon. And later on, as the moon appears full for a couple of days, but it really isn't. The moon is already starting to wane or get smaller in illumination, because it continues around the Earth. And then as it keeps going, it will start looking like a waning gibbous moon. It's the opposite of the waxing gibbous, where it was like between first quarter way around and full is the waxing gibbous. And then from full to the next quarter of the way around after that, it looks like a waning gibbous. When the moon is full, technically that's like that. We can call that we have first quarter. We could call that second quarter if we wanted to. It's a second quarter moon, but we call it full moon because to people it was full. Had they called it the second quarter originally, then it probably wouldn't be so confusing to people about the phases of the moon. And then, right, and then we get to the last quarter, where that's that point where it's now entering the last fourth of its, that last quarter of the way around the Earth before it reaches the new moon. And so we call that last quarter. Now that could be the 3/4 moon, 3/4 path moon, if you want to call it that. And then as the moon gets further around the Earth, then that looks like it goes from that apparently half-lit moon, it goes down to a crescent, just illuminated on the opposite side, because it's on the opposite side of the Earth. And then it goes into new moon phase, which means the shadow at that edge of the moon gets smaller and smaller and smaller until you can't see it anymore. I'm sorry, the lit part gets smaller and smaller until you can't see it anymore. And the moon is fully silhouetted by the sun. And during the daytime, we can't see it. And even during the nighttime, we can't see it because it's black. Nighttime is black. And during the day, it's black. And the blue sky totally overwhelms any capability of seeing it, and because of the bright sun. So that's how it works. And you can see the moon at any time in the sky during the moon cycle, whether it's in the daytime sky or the nighttime sky. You can see it at any time, except when it's new moon, when there's when it's on the same side of the Earth as the sun. So there you go. That's the phases of the moon in a nutshell. But don't tell anyone who thinks it's all a NASA lie, because then they'll just sit there and instead of answering any questions, they'll go off and speak platitudes about some kind of other stuff. But there you go.
There you go. I'm extending the invite to Universe Sandbox if we decide to do it.
Okay.
So.
What, tomorrow you mean?
No, tonight.
Oh, okay. All right.
So continue. I'm just texting.
No worries.
Yep. And it was supposedly, according to Paul, the clouds are moving back in again.
Okay. It's fine. It is after midnight here already, though. It's 12:15 here.
Yep.
And there goes the moon.
On Mark's channel. Chanel. Maybe we should just do it tomorrow night, just because then we can do it on both channels.
That's a good idea, because then I can actually play around with some of the capabilities.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, here. Okay, guys, here's what we're planning. We were going to do a Universe Sandbox thing where we're going to have fun and smash planets together over on Mark's channel tonight after his radio show, but of course Paul called and we decided to stream since we haven't been able to do it at all this month. But now, because of the current weather and because of what the forecast is looking like, we're thinking about maybe doing that tomorrow night and actually doing a double broadcast on both of our channels here. And I am trying to get Paul as well to come hang out, since he won't have to work the scope, to maybe come hang out with us playing around in Universe Sandbox. So that's the plan as of now. How awesome would that be? Us three smashing planets together.
I would love it.
Yeah.
I'll play God.
So, and once again, you get to hear from Paul, because you guys rarely get to hear from him, and it'd be a night where he didn't really have to do anything except for just jump on Skype and check out the channel, and just hang out with us. So it'd be a good night just to hang out and have fun. Now, knowing our luck, we'll plan this and we'll be all set, and it'll be a nice clear night in Miami tomorrow night.
Well, that's fine. I mean, if it's a clear night here, I'll
but being that the moon is around full, it'll be crappy for us, so he can easily just put on a wide field and come hang out with us anyway. So
that's correct.
That's good. Once again, I do want to mention, I'll mention it. Me and Mark do have an announcement coming in the next couple weeks. That's all I'm going to say about that. Hopefully you guys are up for it. And I think we're going to just wrap for tonight. He said the clouds are moving back in. Not really much we can do. My cat's eating my cameras in the back of me. For some reason.
Well, look, you guys, those who haven't done so, if you want, head over to Sky Tour live stream with Mark D'Antonio and tomorrow and join. And
yes, mods. Post that link to Mark's channel. You definitely don't want to miss that.
Yeah, we're going to have fun. And on clear nights, almost everybody in the chat, I think everybody in the chat may know this, but those who are listening, who are just lurking out there and enjoying, we go in, we do the deep sky. Keith and Paul do the moon and the planets, and Bill New York Skywatcher does the wide-angle sky views for meteor showers. And what we do at the John Zach Memorial Observatory here at Sky Tour Livestream is we show the deep sky. So we look at deep sky objects that you wouldn't ordinarily be able to see, like galaxies, hundreds of billions of stars. And
we're talking crazy imagery. You're talking about, like, the double stars alone will blow your mind.
Yeah, Paul and Keith like some of the double star images I have. Like Alberio is a beautiful, and you see this beautiful blue star and an orange star right next to each other in space, and they're 4,600 astronomical units apart in real life.
Yeah.
And it's pretty crazy, Thanks, Jello. And, these are actual stars orbiting each other. They're binary stars. And there's a lot out there. Sometimes we look at carbon stars, which are the most unreal shade of red. And it's because there's a lot of carbon in their atmospheres. And we talk about where these come from. We talk about why these occur. We talk about why binary stars happen, why carbon stars occur, why we call them carbon stars. We see white dwarfs, too, because white dwarfs are the remnants left over from stars that have died. A star like the sun is going to go in this manner. And they leave a nebula behind that is a cloud of gas, a lot of hydrogen, a lot of ionized oxygen, and some ionized hydrogen. And many of the elements that the star forged in its core can end up spread out into the universe this way. And the elements in its envelope, the outer part, are spread out this way. And that's where new stars come from, along with planets that go around that form around these stars. And when a star is big and it explodes, it goes into what's called a supernova. And we look at supernova remnants too. I mean, Keith, you remember seeing our, what is it? The Veil Nebula, which is a supernova remnant in the constellation of Cygnus. It's this wonderful filamentary, beautiful-looking, remnant. It's blue and it's red and it's almost purple in some places. It's a beautiful, beautiful gossamer remnant from a star that exploded in the most catastrophic way possible. And now it's just a beautiful nebulous gossamer object, and we see it in SkyTour live stream. We actually image it, and you'll see it over the summer, and it looks gorgeous, right? In the cameras, because we're using a nice, very, very sensitive camera.
Yep.
We image it very fast. I've added another system to the observatory as well. We understand the chemical composition of stars and nebulae by studying what's in the star's atmosphere, for instance. Now, how do we do that when the star is so far away? We can't touch it, we can't sample it, but we can see its light.
Yep.
And what happens is the light...
No. Save that.
Oh, but
Save
it just
that.
tells you the spectrum. Okay.
Put it this way. Mark can tell you what these stars are made out of just by the light spectrums. We don't want to give too much away. We want you guys to go over there and watch this because it's insanely interesting.
Well, we're going to do the spectral thing, too, because I've been studying...
Exactly.
I've been planning this for a while, and I got the spectral system attached permanently now to the scope. So we're going to be able to get a mixed view of sometimes what we're looking at with a regular camera and then what we're looking at with the spectral system. So
it's going to be sweet.
It is.
And now
sweet.
It is time on the stream for the plugs, which, we do every time. But once again, Mark D'Antonio is joining me from the SkyTour Radio on KGRA, Sunday nights at 9 p.m. with Amanda Curran. And, of course, the SkyTour live stream over on YouTube, which one of my mods will be nice enough to post in the chat. Once again, here, if you guys want anything and want a way to support this channel, once again, it's the P&K Astroware. You guys can grab a t-shirt. I try to keep them high quality and low cost the best I can. So if you want one of those, you can head up to that. I will post that in the chat. They're actually going pretty well, like better than I thought they would.
That's good. That's
good. Yeah. And they're high quality shirts. They're not like these cheap, things. I know plenty of people have
I
gotten
need to
them.
get one too.
Yeah. And on top of that, we want to make sure that everybody has a wonderful night. We have lost the moon, but we will get it back. We might just push our schedules a little bit to get on the waning side of the moon if it happens to be, a week of clearness comes out of this mess that's been the last 2 to 3 weeks. So you might see us streaming very early morning, 4 a.m., doing it till daybreak. In the coming weeks, depending on what the weather's doing, of course, because we want to get we want to get that imaging under our belts. So once again, when the year comes around, I can layer the images and compare. I mean, that's the basic point of this. We're comparing, we're finding new stuff, if anything, new craters, compared to the footage that we already have. So you might see us doing early morning streams. You might see us up late a couple times, just trying to get May in the best we can. And Paul is texting me like a mofo. 1 second, let me find out what it's saying. Okay, there we go. Closed up again here. Yep. Okay. 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 Very good. All right. Anyway, so thank you once again. Thank you to the moderators who are always great. Thank you for being cordial with the flurfer that was in here earlier. Definitely. We want to make sure that we're welcoming, but we also want to make sure we don't just put up with utter nonsense. And when we get a rare chance to school one like we did tonight because we had Mark on, I'm definitely going to take that chance. So, but you can join us on Facebook as well, P&K Space Imaging on Facebook. The Facebook page is there. You can see them on the channels. Twitter as well. I try to post in there the most I can when we go live. Like I try to get it out so everybody knows, because everybody knows that YouTube subs. I have no idea what they're trying to do now, because now there is 3 tiers of subscribing that you have to go through in order just to get the thing. Like remember back in the good old days, Mark, when you could hit subscribe on a channel and you would just automatically get any new videos that channel was putting out or live streams.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then they switched it and they gave you a subscription, and then you had to click a bell.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. To be notified.
So, okay, and then you had to pick how you wanted to be notified, whether it be from email or whatever. Now, they're organizing the sub boxes. They're taking the one last bastion of control that us creators have, and they're not even doing that. So you literally have to go through a maze in order to get the actual notifications. So, once again, and I do want to put this out there for anybody, if the moon is up and it's in our normal night sky, okay, just check in around 9 p.m. There's a good chance that if you see like any radars or anything and it's clear down in Florida, there's a good chance we're going to be on during the moon cycle. So I can't guarantee. We can tell you to like, and we can tell you to sub, and we can tell you to click the bell, but I'm not sure how much that matters anymore, to tell you the truth, because you have to go through loops and just say how you want to be notified, and the YouTube is going to, do there some kind of thing where they're going to show you, like, the more people, like, if you watch us a lot, we're going to come up top in your subscriptions. But say if you only catch 1 or 2 streams a month, they're not gonna show you that when we put out a video, which is just insanity to me. But the good news about that is we have been approved over on Twitch, so there might be a time in the very near future where we're actually simulcasting on Twitch. So what we might do is have you guys subscribe over there, and then be able to watch on either one, because we'll be live on YouTube and Twitch. So it's crazy stuff. I don't know what YouTube's doing. I'm pretty sure we will figure it out.
I was thinking of doing a Twitch stream as well.
Yeah, but even Twitch is a little wonky, because I know they don't want to lose their gamer base, but
right.
They are expanding.
It's a gaming service.
Yeah, I mean, they are expanding more and more. But once again, I try to put it out on Facebook and Twitter when we go live. Usually 5 to 10 minutes beforehand, I'll put like live in 5 or something like that, just to let people know, because you will get those notifications anyway. Hopefully, Facebook a little more wonky. Twitter definitely. So if you follow us on Twitter, at least I know you'll definitely get the thing. So. That's pretty much all I got to say. And Universe Sandbox tomorrow night, if it's cloudy, that will be us playing around. Paul will, from the looks of it, will be joining us for that.
Nice.
So, yeah, and maybe we'll grab a couple other people that we can. I don't know if we probably don't want it too packed in there, because then we'll all be talking over one another. But I think us 3 will be a pretty good thing, and we'll be smashing planets in, and adding stars that shouldn't be there out by Pluto and stuff like that, just to see what we can do.
Yeah, you guys should see what happens when you actually bring in, let's say, just Proxima Centauri, bring it into our solar system. Just watch the fireworks. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, it's gonna. If you guys don't know what Universe Sandbox is, just go ahead and look it up. It's basically a physics-based. They call it a game, but it's really a tool that you can use. Yeah, it's a simulator, and it takes real physics into account. So you can adjust masses, you can adjust the density of stuff, you can adjust the gravitational pulls and the orbits and all this other kind of stuff, and you can just play around and see what happens. Which is why, if you heard me before talk about it, that I'd put a brown dwarf coming in, out by Pluto. You would see it hundreds of years before it even got to Pluto, because it would be affecting the gravity, which is why all the Nibiru channels are all full of crap.
And it does.
So, just so you know, that's what we're going to be doing, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a pretty silly night, because me and Mark tested it out tonight before his radio show, and it was pretty funny. So, join us tomorrow for that. On that note, once again, thank you, Mark, for joining me.
I had a great time.
Once again,
thank you guys all for putting up with me tonight on Sky Tour Radio, and
that was me. Sorry. Yes. So join Mark over at Sky Tour. I expect to see his subs go up by at least 10 tonight. Hopefully, you guys can jump over there and subscribe to Mark. And a lot of things coming from not only this channel but Mark's channel as well in the very near future. And once again, I will say, go subscribe to Keith. Because that's actually what I named the channel.
That's actually a pretty good way to say it. To go subscribe to Keith.
Yeah, okay. It's just my dumping ground of whatever I want to. So, once again, guys, thanks for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow night. Everybody, be safe. Ta-ta.
See you all.
I was trying to do 6 things at once.
Rambling your ass off.
I was trying to do 6 things at once. I was trying to remember what I was talking about. So I was like, Okay, so let me... Actually, let me call him.
That's a great tweet, by the way, Paul.
Oh, yeah. I actually bought the hemp.
That's a good move.
Hey, buddy. No. I was just calling you. Hey, if it's cloudy tomorrow night, do you want to come on with me and Marco on Skype and just play around in Universe Sandbox tomorrow night? It'll just be us three. Sweet. That's if it's cloudy. If we can get a stream in, we'll probably do it. But if not, yeah. Let's hope. Let's hope. But that's our backup plan. If it happens to be cloudy or raining or whatever, we're going to jump on and smash planets together in Universe Sandbox. Oh, I know that. Yep. Dude, it's been insane down there for the last 2 weeks, man. My God. How's the vet coming?
Wet.
Awesome. The vet's still going good? Did you happen to get me any video? Did you? I don't think I did. Did you email it? Oh. Well, yeah, dude, if you want to take some video of you working on it or whatever, like maybe get me like 5 minutes or something, I'd love to post it on the channel just as on Paul's Corner. You know? Yeah, that'd be cool. And just kind of explain what you're doing. You know, people just want you're the man behind the curtain. People just want to know more about you. So, yeah. But that's the plan. Tomorrow night, if it's raining, we'll jump on and smash plans together with Mark. Oh Jesus. Well, I tell you what, I'm rapping right now. Right as soon as I hang up with you, I'll be rapping the stream. Everybody hear that? All right. Yep, later. Everybody got that? So Paul is on tomorrow night.
Well, why would they have heard that? Oh, you left the volume on?
Yeah, I leave everything on.
Oh, so they're hearing this right now?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Hopefully they heard it. I was trying to hold the phone up to the microphone. I don't think it... Did you hear it?
I can barely hear him talking.
Oh, sorry guys. Anyway, that was my bad.
Oops.
Well, either way, Paul will be joining us tomorrow night. And as you guys heard, he did give me confirmation. He's going to try to get video tomorrow that we can post to for Paul's Corner. So that'll be the vet that he's working on. So hopefully we'll get you that video tomorrow as well. Anyway, from me and Mark, and from Paul, and from all of us here, we're going to wrap up, and we are done for the night. We'll see you tomorrow night, Universe Sandbox.